Yo, what's up guys, Sam here, and I've had the Canon C70 for at least 8 months, close to a year right now, and it's honestly my favorite video camera to date. You know, I've used quite a number, and I personally love the Canon C300 Mark II, the Canon C200. I've not tried the C300 Mark III, would I love to, but this camera, honestly, for what you're getting, what you're paying for, the size to quality ratio is absolutely incredible. And what I love most, honestly, is the shape and the way this camera is built. If you wanted to, you could use this as is, straight out of the box, on a gimbal, handheld, just going around running like this, and it works absolutely fine. But if you wanted to, you can actually build it out to a much bigger production ready rig where you're in a bigger setting. And today I want to show you how I actually rig my Canon C70 to be production ready. And just a quick disclaimer, this video is sponsored by SmallRig. They did send me quite a number of things, but a lot of things I actually already owned. But yes, so this is going to be a SmallRig C70 build, and personally I do use these SmallRig parts. There's some that I might switch out depending, but I'll let you know inside the video. But let's not waste any more time and let's go straight into the Canon C70 build. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. I obviously have the Canon C70 right here with me. I already have the speed booster mounted onto it because I only use EF glass anyways. I've never used RF glass, and that's why I have it permanently bolted on with the things that are provided from Canon itself. These brackets right here. First things first, let's just put on oh yeah, another thing also is going to be the battery. Most of the time I'm shooting with the BPA 60 battery. I find that it's a lot better. I mean, it's obviously bigger and it has a lot more juice in it. It can run me for about like 300 over minutes, I think 340 minutes. So yeah, let's start with the first build. Obviously we're gonna have our handy dandy little tool here. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be using the SmallRig C70 plate. Well, cage. It's like a half cage, but I do like this cage for a couple of reasons, and the first being that it's very small. It's really light. It does not add any weight onto your rig, at least not that much of a weight. And so if you're looking to like use it on a gimbal, you're not like adding more weight. The only downside, however, to this cage is that it just doesn't have enough mounting points overall in general, which I don't like. It kind of sucks, but I mean that's kind of like the trade-off. And if you're looking for something to properly build, I probably wouldn't be using this cage in the end. I might use something that's a bit more full, but this is a very minimalist cage, and it gives you exactly what you need, especially for the mounting points at the top. So one thing that's really great about this cage, it already has these Arri locator pins right at the top here, and the cage that comes with and the top handle that comes with this cage is this SmallRig one as well. I have added a Nato rail onto this. It's a low profile Nato rail. I'll explain why in a second, but this is just the handle that comes with it. The Nato rail does not come with the handle here. Just like so. And it's pretty solid, and if you wanted to tighten it down, there is an Allen key inside here, and you can just put it in and just tighten it like so, and it's rock solid. I do like the handle. It is nice, it's compact, it does get the job done, though I wish there was like a 15mm rod hole there. But yes, so now this is the base cage on its own. This is just the base of the C70 on its own. If you wanted to, you could just go out and shoot like this. It's fantastic. You know, you already have like two hot shoe mounts here, and then cold shoe, sorry, and then you have another one on top and behind. More than enough for whatever you need for like a run and gun setup. Now this is where you can actually build up your rig a little bit more. And so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to be adding a base plate, and this is what we will be using to add in our rods, our 15mm rods. I really like this base plate because it gives you quite a number of options to actually properly lock down your rig so that it doesn't move around. But another thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add this cheese plate. Now the problem with this cheese plate I have found, and I'll tell you why I'm putting this in a second later on, The only problem with this cheese plate is that the screws don't actually align, so you kind of have to put it a little bit offset, something like so. I've tried all I can, unfortunately it just doesn't, so unfortunately just gotta live with it, I guess. Okay, great. And now the cheese plate is on, and what this does, it actually raises the actual rig itself a little bit higher, because we need some spacers. We need some space for what we're going to do in later on. So now we're going to add our 15mm rods. Now it depends on the actual rig itself. Sometimes if I need something longer, I might use these like 30cm rods, or I might use these 20cm rods, depending on how big or how small I want. If for the sake of this one, I'm going to be using these 30cm rods. And so what I'll do now is I'm actually going to be adding my V-mount plate. Now I don't actually have a V-mount plate that transfers power, and the main reason for this is because I only use the V-mount to power two things, and that is my monitor and any other peripherals I might need. Mainly because I've read some horror stories of, like, you know, your HDMI being fried because you like put too much inside, and I don't really want to have to worry about that. So I just use that just like this. So we have that locked in, and the V mount of choice is going to be these FX Lion Nano 2s, if I'm not mistaken, 98 watt, and then it just goes on just like so. It's not really a solid connection because you can actually pull it out. I mean, that's the problem with V mount, considering that it's plastic, but hey, just be careful and you should be fine. And it locks into place just like so. And now, since let's just add a lens to this. Okay. That's it. All EF glass. I have here the EF 85 1.4L, one of my favorite portrait lenses. Love it. So the next thing I'm going to add is I'm actually going to add my base plate. I use a Manfrotto base plate. And the reason why I have this, even if I'm going completely handheld, the reason why I like having this is because it gives me a solid standing point. It allows the camera, you know, wherever I put it, as long as it's on flat solid ground, I can actually stand it up instead of it like toppling down because of the cheese plate that's a bit offset. Because if I ever want to switch to sticks, or if I just put it on the ground, it stays straight, so it doesn't fall over. You know, it's just solid piece of, like, it's a solid rig basically. Okay, now comes my personal favorite, and that is this. This is the SmallRig EVF something. I think it's a Nato EVF. I will put everything will be links in the description as well as text over somewhere. But what's really nice about this is I don't like using magic arms. Magic arms are really useless to me. They're flimsy, they're hard to use, and they sometimes fail me very often. I like this EVF mount because basically, and that's what this Nato rail on the handle is for. Basically all I have to do is just put this in, just like so, and it locks in, and I can push it back and forth as much as I want, and I can lock it in. And so this EVF mount actually can go up, down, and you actually put the monitor right here, and it goes up. It can go pretty high as well. It's a little bit off frame, but I can show you. I'll show you in some B-roll after this. So basically, all it does is you lock it in, and it stays in place. Obviously, you got to lock the Nato rail, and it stays in place. It's super solid, and that's what I really like. So my monitor of choice usually would be an Atomos Shinobi, but I've been trying out this Fuel ultra bright something LUT 7 Pro, LUT 7S Pro. It's not an amazing monitor. It's super bright, yes, but it's not really that great for critical focus. I do use it for framing, but because the C70 has really great manual focus features, like for example the focus confirmation and focus peaking and things like that. So this monitor for me, it does very well. And the main thing I picked this up is because it has this, which is used for my wireless transmitter of choice, and that is going to be the Vaxis Atom 500. Really love this. It has no antennas. Well, it has no outside antennas, you know, everything's built in, so everything's contained, very clean rig. And basically you can just put this straight onto the monitor, and when you power the monitor, it will power the transmitter, and all you have to worry about is powering the receiver unit. So the only real downside as well of this monitor is the build quality is horrendous. It is completely plastic, and do not try and force anything because I think it will break it. I have flexed this open before and I do not want to try it again. So I will probably be getting a cage. If anybody knows where I can get a good cage, that will be awesome. But yeah, basically what this does is you can lock it in right here. And basically there we go. We have locked in our monitor, and it can go pretty high and it can go pretty low. Unfortunately, you probably can't see this in this frame, but I'll probably bring it into shot maybe later on. As you can see from the way this monitor mount actually works is that I can actually it does take a two-handed operation, but I think if you loosen it if you tighten it just enough tension, you can actually just move it, but it will still stay in position without you actually having to like tighten everything down. Now what I want to do is I actually want to add my side grip. And my personal favorite side grip is obviously going to be from SmallRig. This is the Arri Rosette, I think, handle. I can't really remember. Once again, everything is in the description, but obviously I can't actually fit this anywhere. It doesn't have any mounting points. So what I actually do is I actually have this SmallRig, another Arri Rosette something, and it just goes straight through the straight on the 15mm rods. You can actually move it up and down. It has a left and right, but I prefer the right grip. And basically all you have to do is just tighten this here in, and what you can actually have there's an Allen key built in at the bottom where you can actually use to like properly tighten up the rig itself. And what I like about this is because I don't like holding onto the camera here. I like it just to press a button, but I prefer holding this like this because it allows me to have more control on my rig itself instead of up here where I can introduce more shake. I prefer holding it just like this and having it close to my body just like so. It really helps out. And the reason why I have the cheese plate riser as a riser over here is because if I don't have it, I can't actually put this rig down flat. It's actually going, the side grip is a little bit too flat at this part here. So if I don't have the riser, it's actually going to make the rig go like this, like sideways a little bit, which I don't really like because I might actually topple it a bit more if I'm not too careful. So I like holding it right here, and it gives me a bit of space with the riser so that I can make sure it doesn't topple over. But next, we're going to try and see how we're going to power the actual monitor itself. Now there are two ways for me. I usually use a D-tap to P-tap, or I might use a barrel jack to P-tap as well. But for me, I prefer actually this because of this, what do you call this? This coiled cable. It just goes straight onto the NPF slot here, and I can actually just bring it back and just connect it to the P-tap or the D-tap out on the V-mount battery. Now the problem that I found a lot is that because of the way the C70 is built here, sometimes the cable might jut out a little bit more, and I have had the situations where it came out. So usually what I'll do is I'll put this at the bottom and it goes right like that. So you might be wondering about the screen. Now it depends on the shoot itself. Sometimes I might have the screen closed, but for the most part what I will usually do is my screen will always be out just like this. And I have the V-mount battery just slightly out so that when I'm holding it against myself, I actually don't push against the screen at the side, potentially ruining the screen. But I use the screen mainly to change settings and just to see as a reference. Usually everything is done through the monitor itself, although they can't control, but everything is like, you know, it's easy to access and things like that. So once that's done, we're gonna add our HDMI cables. First things first is we gotta connect the wireless transmitter. You see if I bring it closer, yeah, we're gonna connect the wireless transmitter to the actual monitor itself. And so this is going to be obviously HDMI in, we go in, and we go HDMI out because we want it to go out of the what. And the next one is obviously from the camera itself, HDMI in. All these cables are also from SmallRig, which I really like. They're nice, they're super thin, which is what I like in my HDMI cables. And so what we can do is over here, we have the HDMI port down here, and we can just connect our HDMI cables to this. Now obviously we come into a major problem, and that is this dumb rigging here. I do not like stuff like this. It's because it's potential to be snagged around. You can loop it around, but I have found these things called sprigs. They are sprig cable management. They're basically like plastic loops, and you can actually just put them anywhere you want. You can just, and they go into like quarter 20s, and you can just loop your HDMI cables through these sprigs right there. And depending on wherever you put them, so for example, I have this one, I have this cable here. I actually have a quarter 20 at the side of the monitor. I can actually just screw that in just like so, and I can actually just loop it in so that my cables are managed and they're not just like dangling around. And this is another one that if let's say this cable is a bit too, don't really like it like that, I can actually just put a sprig right here and actually just put it through this, and so it's locked into place. And as you can see, whilst I could definitely do a lot more cable management, like maybe putting it right here, just for the sake of this, build, I will just show you like this. And it's really nice. Everything is not too much jutting out. Obviously you can finesse everything a little bit so that, you know, wires are not like jutting out. The one thing I might change is I might get a right angle adapter for my HDMI cable, but that's about it. And last but not least, if I want to look a little bit fancy, you know, I want to like impress clients, or if I want to impress anybody on set, I might actually use a matte box. And this matte box is also from SmallRig. This mini matte box from SmallRig comes with a bunch of adapters that you can use. You basically screw on a filter here, adapter ring here, and then you can just put your matte box on the actual rig itself over here. And there we go. You have a matte box all set up, ready to go. I will say that a matte box is pretty pointless for me because I don't have any 4x5/6 filters, at least not yet. But yes, so this is essentially my production ready rig for the Canon C70. It does everything. I would like it to be a little bit more compact, and if I really wanted it to make it compact, what I might do is I might change this battery for the BPA 30, or put this inside, and I can snug the battery as close as I can to the camera. And so now every time I'm just holding, it's close by to me, it's nice, it's, you know, it's definitely really heavy. Not as heavy as I initially thought it might be, but it does add up some weight. And sometimes when I'm like, you know, running and gunning, this can add a lot of weight, but it does have everything that I need. It has a wireless transmitter, it has a monitor, it has a matte box, everything is powered by VMount, which lasts relatively really long, and it's ergonomic enough for me to like hold and go handheld just like this. So yeah, that's basically it for my rig. As you can see, it does fit really nicely on my shoulder. It does hurt a little bit, so the next thing that I might want to do with this is actually to get a shoulder pad at the bottom. But that's about it. You know, I normally shoot maybe something like this, where I'm holding it close towards me. Sorry if the focus, like I don't have a wide lens with me right now. Down here, I can actually see what's happening with with my monitor. I can focus right here with my other finger and my other hand, and it's actually, this hand is actually supporting the actual weight of the camera itself, instead of me having to hold up here, which can tend to be a little bit more fatiguing because this grip is not really the deepest. But yeah, I can hold it just like this. I can put it on my shoulder if I need to, and I can just focus just like this. Fantastic, really love this. And it's not that pricey considering other rig building options that you might see out there. Once again, thank you so much, SmallRig, for sending me some of the parts. Really enjoyed. It's kind of like Lego for me right now. But then again, this rig is always constantly evolving as the shoots change, as my needs progress and things like that. Yeah, so don't forget, all the links to the parts are in the description down below. If you have any questions, don't feel free to ask me in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to help out. Thanks again, and I will see you and maybe in a version 2 build of this rig. Who knows? But damn, it's such a joy to shoot with, especially when all the parts come together really nicely. Yeah, bye guys.